We'll head to a short ad break, and we'll see you in a minute.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Winners bracket semi-finals. We have got a one game already taken by OG, and it will be Virtus.pro that will try to turn it around, turn it into a tie, and hopefully for them, turn it into a 2-1. But this was just game one, going a little bit different than what we were expecting, standing here with Toby as well as Merlini. Guys, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, I know for me, I initially pointed out that I wanted to see VP's rotation. That was the biggest thing for me. I want to see that work out. And OG actually out-rotated them. When they went for that tier 1 tower on the top lane, I'm wondering if VP was also considering what happened previously. So what happened previously was like you hit that 4-minute mark with the Terrorblade, you push the bottom lane, and OG just switched it up. They caught the Luna out, they made the most of that early stampede they got, and they got bonuses when they did that push. And things started to get a little bit weird after that point.
Yeah,
if that's a word I can use on a panel.
S4 really stepped up his game after the laning phase. Laning phase, he died twice, but he had like so many double, triple hoof stomps into double edges and really made quick work of the Luna. I thought it was going to be more like the Lina doing the heavy damage to the Luna in the early game, but it was mostly just a Centaur, and he kept his farm up quite nicely. He also can just straight up tank the Eclipse with the hood, no problem.
Man, he made it so easy for Ana to recover. Like that hoof stomp he got on the bottom lane. Like you sit there, and I'm really glad that the boys on the casting team they flagged the fact like the amount of damage that was done. Centaur was like up here, and Ember was like down here somewhere. He just came in and did the showman, like the Queen of Pain kind of style. I'll jump in, I'll take all your kills, and look really good.
And it was such a prime moment in the game. It was around 14 minutes or so, and that is the time where Virtus.pro, if they had their wish, they would have started their death ball, and it would have been very difficult to stop. But that clutch point, that bottleneck, if you will, the Centaur was just an ideal candidate to just literally jump in and make a difference.
Yeah, actually made me worry even more, because originally, like, we never really brought it up when we were talking about the draft to start with, was having the SD and the Terrorblade combination of just how insanely aggressive that can be with pushing, and it just kept coming. And we're also looking at it from the other side of things. It's like, well, okay, well, if Luna's hit a power spike, this push is going to be nowhere near as effective. That was my mindset, at least. And Luna was hitting a power spike, because Ramsey's always gets farm. This is just what we accept because he's an amazing player.
Yes.
But then that happened. And then the Terrorblade got bigger, then the SD got bigger, then Ember actually started doing something more than just picking off the pieces on the side.
Yeah.
The Mass Illusions tactics shouldn't have worked, though, because the Invoker was supposed to be a lot more farmed.
Yeah.
When you have like 6 illusions, you can clear them all with one Deafening Blast, one Meteor Blast, one Tornado EMP, one just like circular AoE Blast. He got level 25 too late. He died a lot of times. He took way too much damage before he popped his BKB, and I think he was supposed to be just like a little bit further ahead, like 1 or 2 more levels in the mid game. Then a lot of those pushes would have taken a lot longer because he would have cleared the illusions with one combo.
Yeah, I know you screamed out like in 25 minutes in when the illusions went up in the air and they hit the ground and they lived on like maybe 100 HP each. You're just like, oh boy, this game is now in real trouble.
They should have died.
They all should have died. He just needed a little bit more, I don't know, even one more like intel item, perhaps, maybe not one more intel item, but just anything else that would have helped. They also like missed one of the Fade Bolts too, which led to a tower death, which just makes the game a little bit more difficult for them. But I think that Ramsey's had to do too much. Like as the SD, I think Fly played really well this game, getting the disruptions off on the Luna, but Ramsey shouldn't have had to do that much that game.
But he was the only one that could, though. Like, he was always the one that having to stand on the front lines, the one saying, please initiate on me, trigger my Lincoln Sphere. But then you also then got the Lina later on who got the Rod of Atos. So you're throwing this projectile, which was eventually just going to trigger off the Lincolns, and then the jump came in from the SD. So the coordination, it was simple, but it was well executed from OG going into the later portion of the game when they turned this into the ultimate siege.
Yeah, I think they needed another Lincolns on the Invoker, though. Like when Ana plays Invoker, you'll see him go Lincolns quite often. Usually it's for like Bat Rider, but I think it would have been pretty good in this scenario. They need another way to stop that SD, like, or if he had a Scythe. He just was lacking one item.
He got it at the very end of the game, that Scythe. But by that point, it was it was such chaos. Like the SD would throw down a couple of illusions, and they would do so much damage with a double butterfly build. Like it was so much work being done by this.
He didn't transition as well as they normally see no one do. Again, I have to praise Fly's individual play. That was not an easy game to play Shadow Demon and survive as often as he did.
Yeah, the game, I mean, especially later on, you already mentioned it was chaos. It was back and forth, and we didn't know who was going to take it because it could have gone either way. In the end, OG obviously took it, but what made OG be able to take it? What made them have
Roshan's.
Roshan's?
Constant Roshan's. The one Sunder that he had when he was inside the pit and Nick Assassin was outside, I think that was a big turning point in the game where like VP was in a really bad position. I think they just had too many Aegises to play around. They even got killed the Terrorblade a few times, but I think Ember Spirit also didn't die in many of the fights.
Yeah, a lot of the times like Ember would escape on really low life, or Terrorblade would get a really good Sunder off at a good time, and like these things would work towards you winning. I actually think another one of the critical points was the big hoof stomp they got when they found the Invoker and the IO down next to that Dire Secret shop. The second you hit that, and then the IO falls apart, the Invoker can't stay up, you lose these heroes, you start expending buybacks, and it kind of forced VP into this position of, we have to keep money up to try and make sure we have these buybacks. There was almost too much money floating around on the Luna and not enough money floating on everybody else, because they didn't have as much of an impact. Like as you said, like we're still waiting for that level 25 Invoker. We were looking for that Scythe a lot earlier. We were looking for the AoE Deafening Blast. We were looking for all these things to come. And what we kept looking at was Luna killing Luna. With the SD versus Luna battle, or SD as Luna fighting the other entire team of Virtus.pro apart from the Luna.
So talking about Luna, you want to say something about the item build. There were 2 butterflies at some point, and then he changed his mind and went for the MKB instead.
Yeah, we have to give credit. I always have to give credit for this one to Kai Hani, if he's out there right now. Good luck with Escape.
They're now called January 25th.
Why?
Because that's probably when they're going to announce who they're actually going to be sponsored by, because Escape doesn't sponsor them anymore.
Wonderful. Okay. Good luck with your team, Kai. But he was one of the first ones that always like tried to sell the fact that running multiple butterflies, because he did that back when he was playing with Fnatic.
Yes.
So I was like looking at this, I'm wondering if No-Tail's sitting there going, hey, I remember that build, because he was playing with him in Fnatic at that time too. But he always tried to say like it was going to be better to actually run the double butterflies. Obviously, it wasn't when you're going up against a butterfly Terrorblade and you're having issues with that too.
Yeah. But they did win a fight with that. That was one of the last fights they actually managed to win.
True. Very, very true. I'm still wondering, though, if the Satanic was going to be a better choice. I know we had that little debate backstage as well.
I personally don't think it would matter. There's just way too much focus on the Luna. If they manage to get a disruption off on the Luna, I don't think that any item is going to save her at that point.
I was just seeing, like, whatever's going to allow her to survive longer, if she's going to be that linchpin.
Lincolns and like Lotuses is what you need, because
but
you need items
then
for
you're
your
say,
other
like,
heroes.
Hey, Invoker, can you get a Lincoln Sphere so you can lacquer the second layer onto the Luna so she can stay at the front lines? Because he wasn't tanky enough to be there, and no one else was.
Or heroes with like AC, Vlads, you know, any sort of support item that doesn't actually come from Luna's net worth, I think is very important. But everyone just died too much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem in a lot of games.
Well, everyone but Ramses, that is.
Yeah. He tried. He really.
He really did. He
tried.
played his heart out.
Yeah. He could not. He would not have done anything more in that game.
No, and people might have noticed that during that game there were quite some pauses. We are trying to fix that. That's why we're talking a little bit longer than normal. We're replacing a PC right now, so should be as good as done though, as I see people dropping into the lobby ever so slightly. So soon we'll head into our second game of the best of 3. And speaking of the second game, going into that, I mean, this game, it was back and forth. Both teams did great, both teams did bad. It was a mix of both, and in the end, OG came out on top. Looking forward to the next game, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to improve on. How are you going to go forward? Let's start with OG. They might have won, but it wasn't a clean win.
Firstly, I think that OG had the upper hand in the draft. They have the SD over the Luna, which I think most teams would prefer. I think they also like struck first in the game too, with a T1 sweep on the top, and then the 2 racks was also taken down by OG. So I think like if you're going to the game, you're very comfortable with that same type of draft. Like if you have first pick, you're okay with taking SD, making them take Luna, and then doing whatever you want after that. So
I like the uncertainty they also added into the draft. Like originally I was against it. That's why I was like siding more towards Virtus.pro. I thought their rotations would deal with it better. But the Luna actually really came on.
Yeah, the Luna owned.
She did a lot of work early on, and it's something which we have to give a lot of respect to, is just how much amplification the catcher also brings.
Yeah. So, how to improve your Virtus.pro? You just lost. That was a rough loss.
But they'll be fine with this. Like I think VP,
They'll be fine?
it's something with like they've accepted loss before. They've struggled with it before, and they'll just say, you know what, we're going to be confident. We come back. We just play our kind of style. We'll have something else up our sleeves. Like It's
They're going to switch it up, you think?
I don't think it has to be switched up too heavily. I just think it's going to be a different slight approach to a draft. So we'll probably see a different way in the banning. So like maybe taking out the SD and bringing in a different style of combinations with the supports will be the way VP will go. But they definitely want to make it quick. VP, they played the first series of today. It's been a very long day for them. They at least had some downtime in between, but of course they would be watching the games that were being played too. So yeah, I think they're going to be looking for a nice, quick and solid push. And I think we actually could find ourselves in a nice little bit of a trade-off battle between OG and VP.
But do you think they're going to take it? Because at the start of the series, and even you said as well, Ben, and earlier on Lacoste said as well, Virtus.pro is going to take this series. Are they still going to?
I was always hovering around the 2-1, and I was actually leaning, even though this goes against my VP bias, which I'm now famous for some reason, thank you, Red Eye, I was actually leaning more towards OG, because I think OG's synergy is going to be a lot better, even though VP have a lot more experience on this patch. I think OG still have a lot of depth and a lot of power, as long as they can coordinate. And their coordination, game 1 today, definitely did not look right. Yeah. But it all kind of like started to flow in game 2, and then in game 3, things just started to work more for them. Yes, they did work out IG's draft, and it became a little bit easier for them because of that. But you're starting to see that also in this game. Like Fly, like he's a big part to miss and go on holidays. He's coming back, and he looks so much better as each game goes on. Even Anna's getting a lot of space to do what he wants to do now because the supports are kicking in harder. I just think OG, they're bringing themselves back up again, and this is a terrific performance for their first tournament in this patch.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you recognize a great team, a team that can improve game upon game and not just, well, within a tournament is very important, of course, if you want to go far in the tournament, but like on a patch, if this improvement is already this close to the patch changes, it's very impressive. Virtus.pro, they're gonna fight though. This is a little. I feel like this is a little bit of a grudge match in a way.
I think VP need to change up their strategy a little bit though. I think this game they centered their draft a little bit too much on Ramses. Like Wiss was always tethering him, and I think they need to center it a little more around no one. It didn't really seem like he received the help that he needed to that game, and I think Ramses would perform better if given in a situation where he's left alone. And I think OG, they've kind of already figured out the game plan. Give a heavy pusher to No Tail, get like one defensive hero, Shadow Demon Dazzle, and then one very aggressive support in Jerax. Sometimes the Pudge, sometimes the Earth Spirit, whatever it may be. So I think they already have their game plan figured out, whereas VP is still trying to struggle on how to make their cores shine.
Well, if we really hope for that kind of stuff, then we want to see the return more of heroes like Lifesteal and Juggernaut for Ramses to give him a little bit more activity early on, and especially TA and SF for no one is high on my priority list for him. Because if he can have the TA, then at least they have some better counter push if the Terrorblade does slip through in the second phase, because I don't think OG's going to be.
I think TA might be a little bit slow though.
You think TA is too slow?
Yeah, like if you have like a Terrorblade pushing, like TA can't do anything versus that. Even with a blink, you can't do anything versus that. I think like they're very likely to pick a Terrorblade, Luna, Dragon Knight, like some of these heroes, and I think that TA struggles versus all of them. I think Shadow King might be a little bit better.
You can probably take out both like Terrorblade as well as DK in the later point, or pick up DK yourself if you want to for the mid lane.
The thing about it is there's always substitutes, so they can always pick Juggernaut too. Like Juggernaut's probably one of No Tail's most played heroes. I wouldn't be surprised if it were.
Yep.
So
we still also have that little niggling thing in our back of our minds, like what if OG actually pick up something like a Meepo, and then they start running this a lot more global style push / gank strat, which is what the Meepo can do just solo without even any other help.
Yeah, they haven't really shown that style yet. It's something that you need to be afraid of, but because they haven't played it yet, I think you need to concentrate on what's happening to you every game. You lose your T1s, and then OG's fighting with like 2,000-3,000 gold advantage and pushing very aggressively on your T2s. You need to find out a way to stop that. Either crush them in the lanes or stop those T1 pushes before they get the second and the third one.
Yeah, a little bit more of an active hero for no one could be the start of that already. And we already mentioned that Virtus.pro, they do like those early rotations. So if you match that with an early mid hero as well, they can definitely have a bit of a different showing in the next game. And we will be soon going into the next game. But if you just want to do something different for a little while, you can always go to g2a.com/DotaPit and find yourself in a giveaway and have a chance to win Dota 2 cosmetics or hardware. So that is always interesting to check out. Right, guys?
Who doesn't like
I'm a little
cosmetics?
bit busy right now, so I can't do it at the
You
moment.
can't do it,
But
unfortunately.
we leave it for the viewers. To
You
do.
leave it for the viewers. We are going to be very busy, and you don't have time to check out anything anymore because we're in the draft. So let's take a look at what these teams have in store for each other as, well, previous game, Virtus Pro, they banned out Warlock and Axe in the first two. Would imagine that might have a bit of a change up this time.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Warlock still in there, but the Axe kind of, like you were calling it during the last draft, like S4's got such depth in his lineup that banning the Axe doesn't make as much sense in the first phase. But taking out the Warlock is something they just easily turn to, and if you let the Drow through, they're going to get the Drow and the Warlock. So that is something to be concerned about.
That is definitely something to be concerned about. Just like this is something to be concerned about, as I believe.
It's fine.
Our lorry didn't load. Unfortunately, we're going to have a bit of a do-over of sorts. But yeah, if you're not going to ban out the Axe, you have a free slot.
I think Warlock SD. This way you have to worry a lot less about the Luna and the Terrorblade, because I think both of those are enabled a lot more by SD.
Yeah. That should be better for Virtus Pro if it comes off that way, because then you can pick it up yourself without being instantly counted in a way.
I don't know if they would first pick it though. I suppose so, given their trend.
First pick the Luna and then just follow up with either Ogre or Rubik.
Yeah.
Something like that, like if depending what gets through the first phase from OG too.
They've lost a lot though, so change has to come sometime, and I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know how many losses it's going to take for them to switch things up from what they think is working.
I almost wish Virtus Pro played a little bit more like what IG was doing with like that live steal of Slaughter, where you give the Slaughter a little bit more priority than the off. But I can't remember the last time S4 played that.
I think Ember is going to be really high. I think they could actually get away with a first pick Ember and ban out the Warlock plus SD. Sounds reasonable to me.
I'm wondering if that's though when you start to worry about heroes like Juggernaut. Like if you got the first phase pick, like getting both, so you take out the really easy and strong safe laners that love just to naturally build into the Diffusal Blade and just cause issues for him. I suppose that's also the Nyx Assassin, which flags up at that point too.
Yeah, Diffusal Blade is not that big of a deal though. I think it's more like this constant stun lock and the long duration silences that cause a lot more issue, or heavy laning phase issues with like let's say Ursa is a hero that DCS turn to, but I don't think VP run it mid very often. It's almost always on Ramses.
Well, this time it's for real. I want to believe that the draft is on its way and the ban counter is ticking down for OG, so we'll see what they end up banning out. They banned out the Underlord and the Slaughter previous game. First pick will go once again to OG.
I'll be interested to see what the toss was, because this is something which OG has been doing a lot of, and they're doing this in their previous series too. In Game 2 and Game 3, they played earlier today, they picked Radiant side both times. And they keep leaning towards this, so I'm wondering if this is actually a conscious thought from Fly in this series as well, or if VP are actually happy to play Dire side.
So Underworld was a no-brainer. Counter pushes very, very well, and is just really, really strong against the way that OG play. Shadow Demon also don't think is a surprise, because it didn't work out for VP last game, and kind of like that Luna Terrorblade stuff, I think OG are actually way better with than VP. So taking that strength away from them is very important. So Slardar I don't think is a necessary ban, just because they like the Terrorblade so much, which I think handles the Slardar quite well. I'm trying to think of any other hero that they would perhaps ban over the Slardar.
Is a Luna an option? I mean, Ramses is very strong on that hero.
I think you can run at the Luna. I think they could just pick Centaur again, perhaps, but yeah, they do take it out.
It's a comfort hero, I guess, as well. You want to put your enemy team off their comfort zone.
Yeah, they could have first picked it though, is the thing, and not have a Shadow Demon in return.
They still take out the Slaughter. This opens up VP because they've got the second pick here, so they can pick up that combination we were wondering about, like what happens if the Ember gets through, what happens where the Juggernaut gets through, what happens where all these other like great safe laners, which Ramses is really solid on, get through.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to first pick Ember, just because the Centaur really enabled the Ember. Like if there wasn't a Centaur in the game, I think Ember would have just continued to do nothing in team fights.
But that's also because they picked an Ember into a Nyx Assassin.
Yeah,
like
that's
that
true.
was like he was already instantly countered. So now the Ember comes up. So VP have the choice. If they want to flag up the Nyx again,
they might try the Ursa. I really did like the way that DC used the Ursa to counter the Ember Spirit. I just don't know if it's the no one type of hero in mid. He's like way more the like sniper, Shadow Fiend type of player.
They could always try to switch it up. They don't do it very often, but Ramses does play Ursa.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, now
But
though,
he also plays Drow Ranger,
He's most
so-
definitely the Drow Ranger in
Yes.
this one. Like the only thing which could change up here is potentially like with a solo taking the Disruptor, you actually finally get Lil's Visage. But his team doesn't like drafting it for him.
It's deemed a little bit weak, but
Yeah.
I like this counter for the Ember Spirit a little bit more than the Dispel. The Dispel only gets rid of the Flame Guard. It doesn't actually kill the Ember. Long duration silences kill Ember, and Disruptor and Drow Ranger have very long duration silences.
This also opens up the mid lane for no one to be a lot stronger. You look to OG's bans in the second phase, and what are you're going to take out both SF as well as Invoker going into this next phase. This is still going to leave your Templar Assassin. It's going to leave the other aggressive heroes we were looking for in the mid lane to work.
I still like Invoker, I think, personally, just for the lane control. I think it offers a lot more lane control than the TA. TA versus Ember is a skill-based matchup, and I think that...
But OG's not going to let that through. Like it
I
was
don't
already,
think they
it was
care
already
that
a rough
much.
matchup having the Invoker versus Ember before.
I don't think they care that much because they can just dump Darkseer in the off lane, and then they roam mid a lot more. So like the even one-on-one matches, I think favors OG because they make sure that Ana succeeds far more often than VP. Make sure that no one succeeds.
Maybe that's when we look to VP's support ban out to the next phase then. Look towards that Earth Spirit, which is still in the pool. The good rotation heroes that you said, like, they can work in the mid lane.
The Jerax heroes.
Yeah, and
you
speak
will.
of the devil, that's exactly what they pick up.
Yep, well, there it is. So what are Virtus Pro's bans going to be centered around now? Are you going to try to ban out some of No-Tails ones?
You could probably like start to restrict S4's maneuver. Drow Ranger's normally pretty good up against like heavy melee style heroes. Just because she just loves it with the early cold arrows. A lot of Drow Rangers have been actually prioritizing getting cold arrows, almost at like getting level 4 on the cold arrows nice and early, because it's just too easy to kill the offlaners once you hit level 6. And with a little bit of help from Disruptor, it makes it way too easy.
Hello, Klimps.
Yeah.
So Terrorblade.
I still think Warlock's a big deal.
Warlock basically big deal as well?
I think it works really well against the style that Drow Ranger plays. Like Fatal Bonds, she can't really play super offensively, and the Rock is also particularly good.
That's a good ban out for the offlaner. Drow Ranger Silence never lasts long enough to actually kill off the Brewmaster.
I think Disruptor ulti is pretty good versus it, but I think they might just be scared of.
You've got too many things to
fight.
catch inside of that now.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering what VP do in the offlane. Like, I kind of like the Darkseid to start with, but now I start to question it. The synergy isn't really that terrific with both the Drow and Disruptor.
Clock, I think, would be pretty good, but Pasha doesn't actually play it that often.
I think OG are actually more on the money to take out that Omni Knight. That would have been a really nice one. That would have given VP a little bit more sustain, so they can force the team fights a little bit earlier on and push with the Drow Ranger, which is obviously what you always want to do with such a hero.
So is Darkseer therefore out of the question? Does it take too long for him to start contributing?
I don't like Darkseer Drow Ranger personally. It doesn't work out well. It seems.
The Darkseer kind of really, he works more when you run melee cores, and when you're on a Drow range, you're already thinking like a range hero for mid, and no one will probably want to run a range hero anyway up against the Ember Spirit, unless he gets the DK like the hybrid kind of style.
I also think Drow Ranger and Darkseer both work better when there's someone else starting off the fight. Like you don't really want to start off a fight with a vacuum wall. You wait a little bit into the fight, and Drow Ranger, you just can't start off the fight with her. So
They actually banned the Darkseer. Darkseer is one of those heroes that Drow actually likes to fight up against.
It's so-so. It's really strong with the Ember Spirit.
Yeah.
Like Ember Spirit with Ion Shell up in Drow Ranger's face is definitely not a good thing for Drow.
The only reason why I flag like it's good for the Drow is the fact it keeps pushing the wave back underneath your tier 1 tower, and with consistent DPS you can actually get like really, really easy last hits and a rather quick level 6.
Yeah, past the laning phase I think is a lot of trouble though. Drow Ranger doesn't really like her lanes pushed, and she likes to be the one pushing in the lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and looking at counter push so far, OG only have that Ember Spirit. So they might want some extra if they are expecting Virtus Pro to make a move early, depending, of course, mostly what their mid laner is going to be. And it will be the Bat Rider for a 9 Pasha.
Well, you asked someone to do the initiation for you. Bat Rider is it.
Yep.
Yeah, they have a ton of lockdown versus Ember Spirit. Also, most of the save heroes are out. Shadow Demon's out. I really dislike Dazzle versus Disruptor and Bat Rider. Like, they both usually just die immediately after the grave, so I think Dazzle's kind of out of the question here. And then Omni Knight's also taken out.
You could run Nyx Assassin, which would be really nice right now for OG's offlane.
Yeah, Nyx Assassin I think would still be pretty good for them.
He's not that great in the offlane for escaping from a Disruptor, That's his only downside. But with rotations in from an Ember, or potentially just messing with the Bat Rider in the mid game, if he can survive the early game with enough levels, then he'll be really, really good against VP.
I think that our lanes are going to really struggle, though, with the Nexus Assassin. You have 3 melee in all the lanes, and then you have Drow Ranger on the opposite side, too, and they haven't determined their mid laner yet.
But what else are you going to run? Like, it's...
Centaur, I think, is pretty good. Crimson Guard Centaur is really good against dealing with a Drow Ranger. Just run at him with Crimson Guard. Pretty good.
True. At the same time, if you don't have your Stampede up, then Drow kills you in the offlane.
Yeah,
and
that is a problem.
And you will become food.
It's a little tough.
I wonder if this is actually a 1 or a 5.
I would say way more likely to be a 1. And very good counter versus the Bat Rider. You don't really need defensive support if you have Venge.
That's the reason why I'm wondering if you question if it's a 5 or a 1. Like, the 5 is just like the straight up counter to the Bat Rider.
Yeah, I guess it could be either.
Where the 1 becomes like, I need to be tanky enough, like I need to get that early Dragonlance so I can fight against the Bat Rider. God, if VP actually pick up a Visage as the last one, then this is the perfect VP lineup. Even though Visage isn't the perfect hero, it's the perfect VP lineup.
Well, the Invoker will be there again against the Ember Spirit. Hopefully having a little bit more success this time. Although it will be tricky with the Earth Spirit rotating around.
They may need a little bit of tank. The survivability of VP is actually quite terrible at the moment.
How are you going to fix that with the 4 position?
I think Quaswex is actually okay versus Earth Spirit, Ember Spirit roam. If you roll, you just Tornado and just run away. It's not really that big a deal. So Slark is pretty good versus the Bat Rider, and also a decent hero to deal with the Drow Ranger, but there is a big downside to the Slark. Firstly, they have no tower hitters. Every single draft that we've seen from OG has had Terrorblade, Luna generally, some sort of hero that could just wail on towers. They don't have anything that can hit towers, which is very atypical for their lineup. And secondly, Slark is very slow-paced versus a Drow Ranger. Slark generally just has way less farm than a Drow, at least first 30 minutes of the game, and oftentimes you just can't stay in the middle of a fight. But it is very, very good in the laning phase versus Bat Rider and in the mid-game versus Bat.
Yeah, they banned the Magnus as the last one. I was actually wondering, too, where OG's counter push is. I know that was something which we were kind of harping on in the previous matches, where we were just like, okay, where is that? What stops the push from Virtus Pro when they bring in the Drow Ranger, when Invoker is able to pick up a couple of levels? Ember's able to do it, but only when he comes online. Slark's able to do it when he's able to be aggressive enough.
Yeah, their anti-push is actually quite terrible.
Yeah. So if VP actually gets something even more aggressive, like I'm not going to say, well, Chen was one of the options, but I was like, they're not going to pick up a Jakiro or something like this. They could force the lanes down so heavily that both Ember and Slark are just going to be scrambling to find farm. And if that Slark doesn't get a Shadow Blade before that timing hits, then OG are in a lot of trouble. But if the Bat Rider gets caught out, if Slark's able to get the good leashes off and the good rotations from the Earth Spirit, then is VP, who I think is going to be in more trouble. They're going to get picked off on multiple lanes.
Damn, Mag would have been a good pick. There's not that many other good offlaners for
Is Legion Commander good enough?
I think it's very good versus the Bat Rider. I'm just scared for their team fight. Like, their team fight's really weak. It's just Earth Spirit. Like, I don't even think they need Lasso to win the team fights with this. Like, you don't even need to use it. You just Firefly, Napalm, and kind of go in.
There's a bit more deep push with this, though.
Yeah, I do like it for the deep push. But, like, AoE control, it's only Earth Spirit in this. So VP just need one more support to round things out.
Yeah, and you said you wanted to have a little bit more of a beefy support or something that could...
Visage is fine if you mentioned.
Yeah, Visage would be fine. I'm actually leaning more back towards the Rubik. Someone that can stop the Legion Commander that's while she's actually inside of her duel, and it's another one of those really good initiations you get from the support. So Disrupt's kind of like that pull back style hero. It gives you a little bit of counter push yourself by having the Fade Bolt. And it's another good controller too, like Legion Commander on the offlane. She gets gusted, she gets cold arrowed. Like, this is going to be really hard for her. Like, she tries to break free to run away, but then you got telekinesis to go all over her again. So yeah, Legion's nice, but I think VP can find a lot of strength out of their lineup. But it's still one of those things, right? Like, if their laning phase can survive whatever VP throws at them, their transition into mid game is going to be so powerful. The VP is just going to become food on legs.
Yep. That is the scary part. Well, they have to choose, and there it is. It is a Sand King. Does that make that Bat Rider support?
I think more likely that Sand King's going to be support. I don't know. Sand King's much better in the lane versus Slark, so I think if they want to do that matchup, it would be completely justified.
And with 4 melee healers, it does lean towards SK being that. But then what are you going to do? Throw Bat Rider into the jungle from the very start?
Yeah.
It's not unknown at all.
It's been pretty popular, actually.
Yeah.
The support, straight up jungle bat rider. It's been
Especially on
very
Lil.
successful.
Yeah. Lil does Lil things, and I think he can do that on a Bat Rider as well. So, are we going to see a third game? Is the question.
Overall, I think I like VP's lineup a little bit more. Even though it's like a little bit more old school, I think it has a lot more pieces well put together. Whereas I think OG strayed away from their having a heavy tower hitter on no-tail, and I don't think they're going to come online fast enough to deal with the drow.
So yeah, I'm actually thinking VP's laning phase now with this Bat Rider. Like if it pays off, then yeah, VP can get ahead. But I'm kind of like leaning the opposite direction than I was in game one. I actually think OG actually have a lot more strength going into the mid game, and they're going to survive the early game with just really good positioning and really good coordination.
Well, we are soon heading over to our commentators, but any like type of timings that we can look out for this match that could really break or make the game for a team?
Timings?
I kind of want to watch to see the Invoker's timings.
Yes.
To see how good of an early game he has, to see how quickly he gets that hand of Midas. Like if we see that Midas around that 10-12 minute mark, then I'm actually like that is going to be really, really good for him. And the movement from VP is going to be really nice.
Okay, I believe we do have a game underway, although we are still having another pause, so we don't have the game underway. I lied. I'm sorry, guys. Ben, in terms of timings for you, anything that you feel like that Sand King needs to be able to do to be having a good game for Virtus Pro?
I think it's always based around Drow Ranger and how fast you can push. I think just how many towers they can take down before Slark gets his first item, whether it is Blink or Shadowblade. Mostly Shadowblade nowadays, but...
Yeah, if he's able to pick that up, but it's at least like if they put the Bat Rider inside the jungle, they're not going to get the free kills from picking up the Bat Rider on the offlane. SK is a lot more elusive when he's on that offlane, unless they bring a lot of detection down the bottom lane, and then it's going to be a very different kettle of fish.
Yeah, we are told that the pause will last a little bit longer, so bear with us, guys, as we are waiting here for game 2 of Virtus Pro versus OG, and we are kind of split on how this will go. The previous game already showed that it was very 50-50 in terms of result. It could have gone either way, and I think this game will prove that it's just a very close matchup overall. Previous game, we liked the draft of Virtus Pro a little bit more as well, maybe just like this game, but that game had OG with the team fight that just, it was dominant from them. The coordination was just there, and something that maybe Virtus Pro lacked a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can do it again.
Want to see if they're doing it again? I think this time we are actually here for game number 2, Virtus Pro OG, with OD Pixel and Gods.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Indeed, we're ready to get ourselves stuck into game 2, OG versus Virtus Pro. And we're already kicking off already. We're seeing a bit of a kerfuffle there down on the bottom lane between Solo and Flyers. They're eyeing each other up. As the lane starts coming to fruition, we are seeing at the moment S4 being backed up by Jerax and Anna looking to contest this top bounty room potentially over the side of VP. Ramses will be indeed up on the top lane, and it is of course going to be Lil on that kind of support bat, Pasha on the core Sand King. I mean, a lot of interesting things coming out from both drafts here, Gods. I mean, no-tail Slark, a little bit of a treat. Do you kind of like OG's approach towards this VP Drow strat that they're bringing out?
They've picked well against. They've got good gap closers with Slark, Ember, Earth Spirit, and even Legion. You can get in your face. Legion very tanky. We see that here. Legion already looking in Drow's face. And as for securing the bounty rune against Ramses up top, small little win for OG to start things off. But overall, I like the move from VP to say this bat as a core isn't going to work as well. Let's pick up a Sand King as our key initiator because the lasso is not going to be reliable against both the Venge swap as well as the press the attack from Legion Commander. So they want to make sure they had a second, more reliable initiator, and that's where they get the Sand King and put him as a core in a very good matchup against Slark.
Now as the lane starts to settle off, Jerax at the moment will be sitting up top with S4. Do you feel that S4 needs the presence of Jerax here, or can we expect Jerax just to be incredibly mobile, look towards helping out the mid lane as well? What's the plan for the Earth Spirit in this early game?
Yeah, he needs to just secure S4 his early levels more than anything. He's being up here means S4 won't Disrupt get ganked. If he's not up here, Disruptor just walks up to S4, keeps on spamming Thunderstrike, right-clicking him, but you can't do that alone when there's no Spirit up here because you get rolled on and S4 will just run at you and start right-clicking you, and suddenly you're in trouble. So it means VP have to commit the Batrider to the top lane, and it just kind of turns into this domino effect where by having Earth Spirit up top, it means that the Batrider can't jungle, he has to go top as well. So it keeps VP busy, and it also guarantees S4 some decent early game last hits.
Jarrett's laying down the stone, just
That's like
making sure.
hello, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
It's not even looking to make a roll. Get it on cooldown, he knows he's going to have another stone soon enough anyways.
trying to go for the side pull here. Will only catch the range creep. Starting to disrupt the flow of the lane. VP as well, so they're just making the small camp pulls. And mid lane, Lil. I mean, this is annoying to say the least here for the Ember Spirit. Level 1 bat, just sitting mid, spamming the napalm onto you.
Yeah, it's definitely pesky. He'll keep him at his tower. Lil doing a good job. Bottom lane, Notel and Pasha trading a lot of hits, but this is Notel doing a really good job of harassing early on. He's got 4 denies. He does take a lot of damage here and needs to make sure he gets his salve up. May actually go down. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Okay,
Not put enough punches.
It was doing a great job until suddenly he got overwhelmed by a caustic.
Top lane though, OG looks to make a return play, trying to make Ramses pay. They can't quite get the final touch in. In fact, the turnaround, the Thunderstrike bringing Jarrex low. S4 trying to finish off solo. Again, a lot of damage being done by the Newt, nearly getting a double kill there. Solo and Ramsey's just living by the skin of their teeth.
We're going to tango that tree.
Jarrex, oh, he's going to YOLO in. Lord help, Jarrex just mans up, throws his life away, but it's absolutely worth it as he takes down Ramses on a bit of a suicide mission, God.
Interesting. well worth it.
You get the carry.
The XP. Yep, get the carry. Why the hell not? Pasha's made a move now towards mid. He's looking for Ana. This is
early rotation.
There's Cold Snap. There's not a whole lot of mana on Invoker, but perhaps with the Batrider's presence, yeah. With the Batrider coming, this could be the kill.
I mean, Ana could not have expected this one. Pasha rotating in 2.5 minutes. They surround the Ember Spirit. Ana trying to get himself out with the stick charges. It is not going to be enough as he's slowed down by the napalm. Pasha, I mean, he certainly made the rotations in the last game with the Nyx Assassin, but a little later on, this game already kind of showing the hate for the Ember Spirit.
I mean, that's like such an efficient play because he rotates for the Shrine as well. So not only does he get a kill, he comes along for the Shrine. They also still have the other Shrine available. So if VP make an aggressive play, like we're often seeing these like 6 to 8 minute mark, let's contest the off lane, send 2 or 3 heroes down there, get a kill.
Top lane, Jarrex ready to go. They smoked up the 2 of them there. Jarrex and Fly getting into position, allowing them to again to get another kill onto Ramses in this early stage of the game, killing him twice so far. 3.5 minutes in. It's already turning out to be a bit of a bloodbath between the two sides.
Yeah, no, get most of the pull at the top lane, not all of it. Again, they're trying to deny as much XP and farm as possible from Ramses. Pasha's had a very good start on the Sand King. Apart from the CS, even though he got a first blood, but he's got 2 CS. He just got his second CS that second. So despite even pushing Notal out of the lane, he wasn't able to pick up a whole lot of farm on himself. This bottom lane, I was going to commend Notal because he's done incredibly well laning-wise in a tough matchup.
Oh, top lane again. Jarrex going in, kicking Ramses back into the hands of Fly, and they'll take him down once again. OG. Pulling the hate out against this Drow and absolutely crushing him in the laning stage, guys.
There's a reason Jarrex is the probably most feared Spirit player out there, and he's showing it up top. Getting the roll in and then using the kick to push Drow out of position. Rather than going for the stun, he wants to make sure Ramses is suddenly surrounded by 2-3 heroes, and we've seen it a couple times now where Jarrex has been able to set up that kill up in the top lane. And that is 3 kills due to the Earth Spirit and 3 kills all on the Drow Ranger.
Mid lane, VP in return going back in on Ana. So at the moment, certainly feels like VP. They're saying throw everything at Ana, and OG is saying throw everything at Ramses. And again, this top lane, S4 is getting a little cocky. It feels rather strong. Level 5 at the moment for the 5-minute mark.
This Legion Commander hero, when you get phase boots at this stage, you pop an overwhelming odds and you have you get your max movement speed. You're also just so tanky with the poor man shield, 900 HP, a lot of damage block, potential to heal yourself, as well as take off the Thunderstrike. There is no killing S4 with 2 heroes. With 3, things get a bit more possible, but even with 3, I don't know if they can kill S4.
Very, very hard to do so. Especially now with Fly back in the neighborhood, hanging out behind him. Bottom lane, Jarrex Seeing if he can maybe set up some action here for Notail, if he can find a lock onto Pasha. Yeah, initiation from Notail, starting to play around. Notail has to be careful, falling incredibly low, but it does work. The bait's successful, Pasha sticks around too long, and Jerax once again setting up a kill for the team. Top lane, S4 goes immediately in with the duel with the backup, but Fly should be enough damage to find one. In fact, he's even looking about setting up maybe onto a second. Magic missiles onto Lil, he's up into the trees, but Fly's right clicks here, bringing him down low. S4 turns his attention back towards Solo. There is now backup as Pasha TPing across, looking towards S4. S4 hitting a good nuke, bring them down low. The burrow strikes in. Jerax again! He's turned up to the fight every time. Jerax just moving in. It doesn't get him a kill onto these two. On the sidelines, Fly was able to finish off the Bat Rider. Now TP's out. He's not going to make it. The burrow strike will be there as VP punish him. But again, I mean, Jerax, he's having a great start. 2-1-2. He's all around the map. They did get that kill on the Bat. Fly's fine with his life being thrown away.
Fly chased the Bat all the way through the trees to get a... That's a solo kill for a support Venge. 5 position. Suddenly gets up to level 4.5. Managed to get boots, raindrops, a magic stick. That's the kind of farm you don't expect to have as a Venge at 6.5 minutes in the game. So well worth it to chase for that kill in Fly's position. And he's ready to make another move. He's got a smoke in hand. Probably going to smoke up with Jerax here and try and set up a kill either around the mid lane or the bottom lane, wherever they feel they can have the highest impact. And they are being very effective with their early game moves on the OG supports.
Jerax nearly level 5 as well, 7 minutes in. Absolutely fantastic for this roaming Spirit. Let's see what they can get. They get a good scam. They know that someone's here. It's actually Ramses who's had to leave that top lane and gone to the safety, quote unquote, of his own jungle away from these two. But Fly and Jerax, they're just hunting him down constantly across the map. He'll try and run, he'll try and hide. Fly just needs one more touch. They've got the boulder smash as well from Jerax just to secure the lockdown.
Not sure if they've got a good
Can they get out? Yeah, Pasha and Lil and Noah, they're looking to avenge this. They will find Fly. Jerax is out, but he is going to have to leave Fly behind.
Yeah, Fly buys up. He's spent most of his money. And yeah, he spent all his money, at least the unreliable.
Hotel, what'll be going on here? Ramsey's moving in as well. Hotel should be fine. Pouts is out. Still has the Shadow Dance if necessary, and it's not. Top lane, the S4 came in quite greedily, trying to see if we get a bit of a play onto Solo. Just putting the pressure on, as you mentioned earlier, just with his early phase boots. Running around, no one's actually TP'd across in reaction. Chasing S4 away from this top lane. That's the cold snap, but they don't really have too much of a gap closer, and Anna's there as well in terms of backup. 7 for 6 though. That's a lot happening so far in this early game.
With all the pressure they're putting on, Ember's been able to have a decent time in the mid lane, and Ramses again finding himself getting gone on. Ramses has had the worst early game you can really imagine as a Drow Ranger. 5 deaths in 8 minutes. Oh boy. This is quite a change from his last game as Luna. And they see him. They want to go on him again. Not letting him farm up even safety camp deep on his side of the map.
Looks like they may settle for Pasha, as they will hunt him down in the tree line. James into the silence once again. Jerax just allowing the chance for them to finish him off. No chance of a burrow strike. Oh, I say that. He does get it off, but it's almost certainly still down. Fly he didn't see him there. And in fact, the infused raindrops. He's only going to have one of them as the charge still cooling down. Won't save him from the second. Bit of burst. OG 8 for 6.
Still quite some time and create some space for at least something to be gained elsewhere on the map, but that something doesn't really include the Drow, who's forced to go full jungle. Ramses is... this is better than what was happening before, but he's still got no treads. 9 minutes in the game. Barely level 6.
Second lowest on the net worth.
Jeez, that's rough. This Bat, or someone needs to get a blink soon to help make some plays and moves for VP, be it the Sand King or the Bat Rider. They just need that blink so they can kind of create some space for Ramses to play catch-up mode. Solo looking for his level 6 in the top lane has been given the lane. It's a very dangerous... like, if Drow goes up to that top lane, she's going to die, so they just give it to Solo and let the Drow get the safer farm in the jungle. And then if Solo can get level 6, he can smoke up with his team, make a move.
S4, Blink Dagger complete, 10-minute mark. Level 8 as well, reaching onto level 9. Just the net worth of S4 on par with that of Notail. You know, Notail's been having free farm. S4, he's been involved in the kills. 104 thanks to just how well that top lane went. And a lot of that largely down to the rotations of Jerax, and obviously backed up by Fly as well. these two just cause absolute havoc in that top lane, and there's no stopping them now. Jerax and Fly looking to continue the momentum with S4, and you kind of have to feel for Ramses here, surely. Yeah, if they find him out now, I mean, it looks like they're not going to move into the jungle. They're maybe looking to see if anyone TP's down towards the mid lane, whereas VP themselves are actually looking for a play on the bottom. They're not going to find anyone though. No-Tail safely farming in his own jungle. And OG will start now to hunt through the jungle of VP, but Ramsey's just hugging the tree line behind his towers.
Good read from both carry players, No-Tail and Ramses, well aware
Oh,
that...
you say that, but No-Tail's just walked right into them.
It's okay. Oh, he didn't get the ulti off.
You jinxed him, gods.
Went for the Dark Pact instead of the ulti. He was farming very defensively and then suddenly took a little roam through his jungle. But Ramses knows what's happening. Fortunately, he has no TP.
And mid lane as well, Anna will be lasso. They don't have quite enough lockdown, and he does get himself out.
Slightly not catching him with the glimpse back. So such a short distance, he couldn't get it with the Remnant. Ramses is trapped. That courier is flying up there. They may see it. Oh no, do they know?
They pinged it. They know he's there.
Oh.
They know he's going for it.
The wave.
Can they hurt him out?
I think he's okay. He can TP deep.
Yeah, he should be out in time. They will still see if they can sweep the area for him, but he's already safely out. You will realise that. Yeah, they ping him immediately. Say, oh, he's over there, boys.
But now they've got a very deep ward on this top lane in the jungle. They've fully taken over this top side of the map, really, and they can use this to try to find some more kills for themselves. They'd like to get some more jewels damage for S4, ideally. And with the Venge as a partner, S4 definitely has what it takes to find some kills up here.
Jarrett's level 6, so he needs to be careful of him.
I don't think he wants to go for the solo kill there, but...
Yeah, they see, of course, as you mentioned, with that ward, all this backup coming in from VP. So OG will be careful about how they go about fighting around this top lane.
Nice ward from Solo, smokes up, goes down river, gets that ward to help protect their jungle at top a bit and even perhaps set up later on for a bit of a push. Say that, it doesn't really feel like a VP draft that's going to hit a timing with Drow at this point to go for any kind of a big push.
And No-Tail back to getting the space on the bottom as he works towards his Echo Saber. Pretty much done as well.
They're hunting so much. Jerks is like rolling out of the trees up top. Does roll into a range creep, but they were really trying to catch out someone like the Drow up top, and Ramsey, yeah, not having any of it. Back in the jungle once again. But this is creating a lot of space for No-Tail.
Radiant's middle tower.
The first item, Echo Saber, as opposed to the Shadow Blade. Build which gives him, I mean, just the better stats overall. More of a pseudo farming item rather than you go into the Shadow Blade, then you're kind of put in that position where you like want to be making sure you get kills now, and you're versing a team which has some pretty good counter maneuvers for a Slack, so going for a slightly safer build.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Echo done for No-Tail. No one has finally got that Midas complete, and at the same time, Pasha Blink Dagger out on the Sand King, so considering how the way that the game's going, very considerable timing for Pasha.
He pops the smoke with the invis. And
they don't
no
have
detection.
any detection, no sentries at the moment. And now actually pop out of it though, into the midst of it all, but there is backup from the side of OG. Jerax looking to roll forward. There's the silence onto Lil, magnetized as well. Jewel from the sidelines, S4 catches out the escape. Can he get the kill? He will. Maybe let's get themselves the bonus damage. They're taking 3 down on VP. May have lost Anna, but again, they're finding very much the favorable trades here.
Yeah. Anna probably didn't have to die for that fight to go as well as it did, but he thought he could burst the Disruptor before he'd get silence there, just didn't quite manage to pull it off. Went for a play. And I mean, his team win the fight regardless, so it's not like a bad outcome for them, but perhaps the better outcome, of course, involving the Ember Spirit not dying. But even so, S4 gets the dual damage, Slack getting involved as well. He's at the top lane, top net worth, really just trying to pressure these lanes as much as possible, and Anna's just going to go back to farming now. Wants that boots of travel probably as fast as possible.
Yeah, and already starting to pick the pace back up. You know, did suffer at the start. There were a few kind of rotations that caught him off guard in that early laning stage, and now just 300 behind the Invoker.
Yep. He's got the spell damage amp now on his talent, so he can offer a bit more. But Overall, it feels like OG just coming together very nicely here in the early game with the support movements, and then follow that up with their core starting to deliver. The Legion Commander S4 again, picking up where he left off last game, being that big problem player, creating space, finding those key initiations, getting pickoffs, and Notel not going for a Shadow Blade, going for the Blink, the more guaranteed initiation and gap closing item. If you go for the Shadow Blade and they have sentries, you walk into a Gust, you walk into a Lasso or a Sand King Burrow Strike. There's so many things which can punish a Slark if he tries to Shadow Blade in. The Blink is actually going to be a more reliable item choice this game. And I like the choice from Notel. VP though, making the right moves. They see heroes top, they take bottom. They may lose a tier 2 for a tier 1, but they're the ones who are behind on farm and items. They're not really ready to fight. This feels like at least making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly not in kind of the shape to tackle a team fight head on with OG. So any trade is a good trade, as you said, considering their position at the moment in this game.
Managed to get some wards down here at the bottom jungle as well. Not as deep as perhaps they would have liked, but I mean, with all this happening, it's OG continuing to kind of pull further and further ahead, bit by bit, and they'll be ready to probably make some more smoke maneuvers fairly soon. They're grouping up, that's what they want to do right now. The Legion Commander probably thirsty to get some more damage up. And there we go. Another smoke coming in.
Nice towards Notel solo. He's going to find him here. He will go for the trap, and in fact, the Static Storm does get him knocked out, though, by the Flame Break. He's going to be fine. And a good combo indeed. Jerax just coming in, shutting down the entire team, bringing them down low. Duel onto Ramses. That's one out with no one. Trying to get himself away with the Ghost Walk. They've got a sentry out there on the top. Pasha is able to come with the epicenter. Is it enough to finish off Ana? No, S4 with the heal, saving Ana. And again, we've seen this before. Fly just chasing down Lil across the fire. Fly, he does not care about walking across the flames. He's finding even more again with a magnetize onto 2. They're having to tuck their tails and run. Can S4 pick up the kill? That's the question. No one. He actually may be able to turn it with Pasha hitting the Burrow Strike.
He's got a nuke soon, so
they've got to be careful. Yeah, Jerax.
Respawn's coming in though, so OG do not want to overstay their welcome, and they managed to get out before anyone can come in to punish them. And great team fight. Jerax hitting a 4-man silence into a 4-man boulder smasher at like at least 3 or 4. It was again the Earth Spirit genius pulling up, coming up big, and they 4-man shrine. They're ready to go right back into the enemy jungle, I imagine. Ideally, they'd like to do so with a smoke, and that is they're going to blink dagger though, so that'll perhaps be a nice alternative for them. A lot of their vision in that enemy jungle has been taken away, but it's still a very dominant OG position here.
For sure. Each fight kind of just showing that, you know, VP, even though they get these ults off, we saw there, you know, Pasha gets at the epicenter, but the fact that that Ember Spirit kill just slips away from him. Very painful for VP. They need to be able to take down these cores at this stage. We saw at the start in the laning, they were able to gank, they were able to shut down Ember early on, but now Ana setting up the ranks.
Notel just sweeping on through. This is kind of like, let's check where their wards are, as well as set up some kills, and hello.
She's jumping straight in. Static Storm will be laid down, but I guess at this point, Notel doesn't really care. Got the Shadow Dance off in time. Nice Burrow Strike onto 2, but the backup's there from the rest of OG. Notel jumps in, takes down the Batrider, and OG they can't get a catch on anything else. There'll be a good Tornado holding them back, but Notel on the side picks up the Disruptor. Double kill for the Slark. Notel just getting bigger and bigger this game. 9k net worth. And immediately going into the BKB as well. And if he gets that at the kind of rate he's going to get it, looking at the farm pace that he's had so far, there's just going to be no way that VP can hold him back.
Just baits so many spells. He just goes leaping in, latches on. He forces out a Burrow Strike and a Static Storm, and he just knows instantly ulti so he doesn't die.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't get kills during that ultimate, he's still forced out the key VP teamfight winning spells, and they haven't won a teamfight off of them. They just put them on cooldown. And OG know that follow-up fight is going to be won. Jerax swoops in and again hits a multiple hero stun, silence. It's a thing of beauty.
Okay, so actually seeing two goes in at the same time here. Towards the mid lane, there'll be the duel. S4 is caught out Lil. That'll be an extra bit of bonus damage in the pocket of him. Anna remnanting forward aggressively. There'll be a tornado, but no tail. Dart packs it off. The chains connect, and VP, they're going to lose heavy casualties here. Ramses, can he get himself out? Looks like he can with Pasha coming in with the big plays. Ramses trying to turn, but the nuke's there from S4. He jumps in, 4 dead on VP. They're going to lose 5. It's a full team wipe. As OG are just absolutely shredding them here in game 2, 21-9.
Yeah, that's some great aggressive play. It's the same story, just this time different player. It was not Notel going in balls deep. It was S4 just saying, well, I'll just go into whatever fight. I know I've got this Earth Spirit God behind me. He'll bail me out if I need. And Jerix is there once again, hitting the stun silencers. There's a reason you can first to pick this hero when you've got Jerix in your team. And OG in a great position now. They're going to go for another shrine. The uptime of this OG team, you think they just fought you and they've got to fall back, heal, wait for cooldowns. No, they shrine up, they just turn around. They're not really playing around long cooldowns. Longest one they're really playing around is like maybe 60 seconds on a Shadow Dance. They've got a 50-second on Duel. These are very short cooldown key spells for them.
So, I mean, we're sitting with this blink dagger here. He gets glimpsed back, but immediately going back in. The flame break again, knocking him out of the kinetic field. He's being turned around upon him and falling down low. Jerax isn't going to hit anyone there with the boulder smash, but he does force them to split. Ramsey's trying to finish off Notel, but the damage isn't quite enough. Jerax just staying on the front lines here, now rolls out. He goes with the kickback again, hitting 3 with the boulder smash. Notel, they found Ramses. The change from Anna onto 2 is a triple kill for S4 as once again, VP, they are just not being able to hold out against OG in these team fights each and every time. I'm seeing people on VP die, but I'm not seeing anyone on OG die, gods.
I just can't believe how many times a game Jerix hits like these 3-man stuns and silences. Like, he does it without a blink dagger. He's going to have a blink soon, which makes it even easier. He just rolls into position to line them up, and it's incredible. It's one of those things, like, I don't want to keep talking about it, but it really is just such impressive play coming out from Jerix. And I mean, the frontline initiators from OG have that. You can see really the trust in this team. They know that they're going to get the backup they need. Notel goes into 5 heroes. He gets very low. He gets brought down. His Shadow Dance wears off, and suddenly he's being lassoed, but S4 is there to bail him out with a press the attack. Everyone is kind of on the same page with OG, and that page is very much run at VP. Overwhelm them. Don't give them any breathing room. Don't give them time to catch up. Don't give Drow any space whatsoever to farm. And VP, they're struggling right now. They are drowning with very little room to farm on their map. Drow's sitting at 5k. Drow is less farm than the Earth Spirit. This is
managed to catch out S4 here, bringing him out, and the Pasha blowing the epicenter. Make sure he gets the kill. There'll be a swap back. Pasha brought out to the side here, and they have caught him, so they will make him pay for that. They do find a trade, and I mean, a 1-for-1 at this stage. VP will certainly take it, putting an end to quite a streak that S4 was on. And money going to no one as well, so certainly will appreciate that on this Invoker. Getting himself a nice bit of a cash boost.
He's pinging out the ward. He knows where it is. It's one of those tough games where you're behind, the opposing team's playing super aggressive, and they have a Slack, so they're going to be able to de-ward all your vision.
Jerax again, immediately with the smash and the silence onto no one with Anna. Once more, I mean, he felt he was safe, no one, with that vision, but...
He had the obs, but...
Jerax.
So did OG. Both teams had the obs, and he got hit by the stun silence at just the worst possible time. I think at this point, VP definitely going to be a little bit tilted by what this Earth Spirit is doing to them.
Jerax just dancing around them. 3-1-15. It's an incredible game for Jerax.
Yep.
I mean, not that we'd expect much less from him. Dude on his Earth Spirit has already shown it a few times today, but this showing him this game up against VP, you know, a team considered to be one of the strongest at the moment, but OG certainly seeming to make the flaws of VP's lineup apparent with this performance.
Notel's now going to potentially have an Aegis. He's got the BKB, so when he goes charging in, he doesn't even have to worry about the Glimpse, Static Storm, the Burrow Strikes anymore. He can just immediately pop a BKB, kill a Disruptor if he really wants to. And he needs to be a little bit careful this top lane. This Orchid is a bit of a problem item, but he's going to have the solution soon. Once this Manta style is complete, this Orchid is going to be largely negated. No-Tail's going to BKB, Ember will have a Manta, both core heroes will have an escape. Not to mention there's press the attack from the support, well, the potential support of the Legion fan. Not that he is a support. Jerax, he's perhaps got this kill.
He wants to go for it, and he may just have it here with the silence. And the magnetize. It looks like Solo turning up is gonna force Jerax to hold back.
Forced him back at least, but lane's pushing at mid and bottom. Not sure there's much more OG can do here other than just maintain map control, get some wards down, deny some wards. Ideally, they want to push up both this bottom and mid lane. Yeah, there's lines being drawn down bottom by No-Tail. He's headed down there.
Radiant's bottom tower
Realizing
is under attack.
This is not the time to make some plays. Ramses has a Shadow Blade.
See if he can do anything here to help his friend Lil. And it looks like the answer is no. He's like, I'm out of here, Lil. You're left for dead. And telling Jerax once again, picking up another.
Bat is not very farmed.
Okay, no one. Finding Anna. Has he got the damage here during the duration of the Orchid? No, doesn't look like he does. We've got to be careful on the side. Jerax won't connect on the smash. He's hunting for Solo. Pasha comes with a burrow. Solo, yeah, kind of looks at it, but he doesn't really want to turn, as he knows that there's definitely more behind on this push in the mid. Ramsey's just desperately trying to find anywhere on the map to farm. We're seeing him kind of sneaking from camp to camp in OG's jungle, hiding in the trees, doing his best to not be kind of caught out.
It's the best thing you can do. It's the smart play, but it's not the kind of play that's necessarily going to win you the game. And I think they have a pretty good idea. They're drawing lines like, hey, this is where the Drow's been playing, like, in outside of the map. I mean, I can only imagine they're like, hey, Drow's taking this kind of pathway. You can swoop through that mid lane with the Shadow Blade, but they're not going to waste time chasing around the Drow they may or may not catch. And there's no need to catch that Drow. That Drow is already being crippled. Drow is not going to be able to fight all of a sudden just because she farms a couple of neutral camps on the Radiant side of the map.
Tower is under attack.
Here we have OG once again with a push, looking to take the final tier 2 away from VP. And he's just continuing to find what he can. No-Tail has the Basher on its way out, ready for the next fight. Immediate TP's coming out towards the top. Ramses has just got to hope that they don't see him. Well, surprise, surprise, Jerax has a gem. And the two of them take him down. More damage in the pocket of S4, 72.
They want to punish at bottom, though. They know these heroes have been left a little bit alone. That's a TP onto a shrine. That's a feed low.
Fly. No-Tail and Anna. 29 to 10. VP just continuously just struggling to kind of just get a hold on this game.
Yeah.
Or any sort of team fight. It just seems that OG are too far ahead. The VP are playing this Drow strat where the Drow absolutely crushed in the laning stage, and it feels like there's very little they can do at this point of the game. You know, a lot of it's down to no one. Maybe he can set something up. He's in the best shape on the side of VP, but it's still not great.
The Orchid is such a kind of wasted investment now because of the escape from both the Ember Spirit that's going to be just in a couple hundred gold, as well as the Slack. So this Orchid he's just not going to get value out of. And I mean, to kind of really explain what's happening to VP now, they have no vision. They can't get vision because there's this gem and the Slack. Slack is just being an observer ward detector. Everywhere he goes, he just lets his team know if there's a ward there, thanks to the Shadow Dance kind of revealing where they can be. And at top, this is the kill with the Orchid they need to get. Jerax is there, ready to turn it around, though.
And indeed he does. Straight in with the combo. Ramses has the guts to hold them back. Buys some time for no one, but S4 immediately in with the duel. No one throws out one more final tornado, but he's out. So's the Drow. OG once again shutting down both cores, and they're just going to tap it out. It's too much for VP. OG just absolutely destroying them here in game 2. It was not pretty if you're a fan of VP, but it certainly was impressive if you're a fan of OG. And a great game for Earth Spirit fans to look back and just watch and study what Jerax was able to do at the start of that game, because from the get-go, it kind of felt it was almost over just because of what Jerax was able to achieve with those early rotations.
Yeah, he was very, very impressive. Got a lot of levels early on. All that aggression around the top lane, Fly even rotating up, gets the kill on the Bat Rider. The support's really the the standout in the early game, and then you had the cores like delivering big. No-Tail was top of the net worth the entire game. He laned very well against Pash. He did get that solo kill at one point, but his CS was well above. I mean, Sand had like 2 CS to his 20 CS at one point in what was a kind of 1v1. Venge was lurking around, wasn't spending that much time in the lane, so everyone on OG played a very, very impressive game here.
Absolutely, and yeah, OG with that series. Moving on, VP, we will still see them, but they'll be knocked down to the best of ones. So OG can go home tonight feeling pretty happy with that performance, and they certainly had an answer for the VP Drow. Ramsey's having a very tough old time there, and a lot of it just down to OG's core team play and early rotations. But that's it from myself and Gods. We'll be able to head back to the analysts now to hear what they have to say about OG's performance and VP's a little few troubles there in Game 2.
Yeah, thank you very much, OD and Gods. And indeed, it is OG that move on, and they don't just move on. No, they're now guaranteed top 3 of the tournament. What a showing. I mean, Game 1, we talked about it, was very even, and then they come back with Game 2. So
OG is just ridiculously good.
Jirax is ridiculously good.
I think in the draft too. I wasn't really sure how it was going to work out together for them, but they switched things up a little bit, and everything just came together for them.
I feel like that Batrider pick kind of opened the door for them as well. Like the second you go for that Batrider into the 4 role, you could see him go, okay, well we can now run an aggressive tri-lane. We can go full-on suicidal, and if we shut down the Drow Ranger and we attack the Drow Ranger into the Tier 1 tower, who is going to stop us? A Batrider at level 1, level 2?
They needed a dodge. They needed to put the Drow Ranger in the bottom lane with 1 and then sack the top lane, but they weren't able to read the lanes in time. Maybe some early better observer wardage would have been better for VP, but they just got outplayed, outclassed today.
They really did.
They really did, and it has been a very long day for them as well as for us, as well as for you guys watching. We have a lot more games in store for you, but not today. Thank God. We have more games in store for you tomorrow, where we will see Evil Geniuses going up against Team Faceless and Digital Chaos versus Team Secret. I guess that's the one that a lot of people are looking forward to, but you're going to have to wait for day 2 of the G2A.com Dota Pit Season 5. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.